Hey folks, happy first day, Sun in Sagittarius. And I just thought I'd take this day, being as the sun's coming into a new sign, to first of all share about a project I'm working on called Il Sole, which is Italian for the sun. And it's going to be an online course about the planets of the sun, so astroherbology. And that if you follow us at the Root Circle, or if you sign up for my newsletter, or just check back at the Root Circle, I will post when registration is available for that. And I just thought in that light that I would share a little bit about a couple things. One is the sun in Sagittarius and how the sun actually represents our vital force in terms of medical astrology and astroherbology. Our vital force is also something you could think of as chi. Some people are more familiar with that. So it's our life force. And the sun in its position tells us what type of life force we have, what type of vital force we have, how we heal, etc., how we use our energy, how we expend our energy. So do we like fire signs? Do we burn it up? Or are we like water signs where we have more fluid or flowing energy? For Sagittarius, Judith Hill, astrologer Judith Hill, in her book, I think called Medical Astrology, she says that people with the sun in Sagittarius are like spark plugs. They're kind of and very expansive, kind of their energy always expands out in bursts. And which, so then we watch for, that's the essence of the vital energy. So that's if everything is optimal. And then in medical astrology, we're looking to enhance that and support it, as well as tone it or potentially mediate it. So for instance, Sagittarians can short out, right? It's like spark plugs, like shoot, they can short out if their energy is overextended. So the next thing I want to share about is one of the big controversies in modern astrology, or Western astrology, which I just want to say right now, you don't need to know any of this because it works. We're talking about tropical astrology when most of us are talking about tropical astrology. If you say you're a Sagittarius or you're an Aries or a Taurus, in the West, basically that's tropical astrology. And if you say I was born with the sun in Sagittarius in tropical astrology, it means a certain thing that is different from other methods of astrology. The different forms of astrology are basically ways of calculating time. And sometimes you'll hear things like, well, tropical astrology isn't accurate because over like 26,000 years or whatever, the Earth on its axis has this wobble. They call it the precession of the equinoxes. So the Earth kind of wobbles as it goes around. And in doing so, changes its relationship to the fixed stars or the constellations. So, for instance, Sagittarius is a constellation in the sky. And in certain forms of astrology, like sidereal astrology, the calculation for sun sign is based on where the sun is in relationship to that particular constellation. Tropical astrology may have started there at one point or another, but it's not calculated based on that. It is calculated based on space, dimension, and the spin of the Earth. And a lot of this now is being supported by physics, particularly string theory and multidimensional models of reality, as well as the fractal theories of reality that tell us that space is where all matter emerges, that objects are not space, but that space includes these structures that are basically extensions of space, where space has extended itself dimensionally until it reaches a frequency where it is a material structure. So, like I said, you don't really need to know any of this. So those structures, for instance, Aries is a structure. The planets are structures. Those structural structures iterate themselves dimensionally in what we call dimensional reduction, until they fall upon the earth, more or less. So basically what that means for tropical astrology is that astrologers calculate space, divide it by 12, give each of those 12 sections 30 degrees. That's our zodiac. It all starts on the vernal equinox, which is calculated based on space and planes of space to the ecliptic, so the plane of the earth going around the sun, and the equatorial plane, which is the plane of the equator around the earth, and where those cross. That is 0 degrees of Aries, and then the 12 signs are divided from there. The reason this works is because over the eons, people doing these mathematical calculations observed what seasonal qualities occurred during these 30-degree sections, and saw that the same qualities occurred always at the same times, based on the same calculations, based on the same things that were happening in the different spatial planes. So, for instance, when the sun is in Sagittarius, there are certain qualities that consistently emerge each year seasonally, and we all experience them. And for those of us born in between that 30-degree time with the sun in Sagittarius, and actually that 30 degrees is broken into different sections as well. Those of us born with the sun in Sagittarius are born into those qualities, and those define the energies of our sun. So basically, tropical astrology is accurate mathematically and scientifically. It just is not the same as other forms of astrology, which are also accurate and often come up with many of the same iterative qualities. So that's it. Bye for now.